Oh, that's running. Okay. Hi. I did not sleep well. I've got a head cold, and I'm very, very tired. But I'm also very, very happy. Because this is my 249th video, and I have 98 subscribers. So, and those of you who follow my Getter account, I know one of you subscribed at least. Those of you who follow my Getter account saw me post about how I was so close. So, I'm really hopeful. Oh, forgot to open the window. And yes, it's like night comes early when I step in front of the camera wearing black. That's an eclipse. No, that's just me. Oh, the camera angle is a little low though. So let's see what we can do about that. Yeah, well, I don't get any prettier when I move the camera. At least I get a little closer. Or a little more centered. Though this feels like a Newfoundland terrorist hostage video now. Free the wild baloney. Yeah. I haven't been harmed. My captors say that I can have all the coffee and cigarettes I want until the wild baloney is free. Please keep it. But no, I am actually really happy. I started this, Christ, back in the middle of January, I think I actually started working on this channel. And really wanted to make a go of it. And it's been about 8 months, and well, actually it's closing on 9, but anyway, in that short a time to get 100 subscribers, I feel like that's pretty good growth. I don't really pay that much attention to things like Social Blade and like the YouTube stats, things like that. I did play around in the YouTube Studio app the other day and discovered the monetize tab. That's cute. Even if I get to those requirements, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which, you know, I probably could manage inside the next 2 or 3 years, leaving aside the potential for exponential growth. Then I still have to pass through a review process to get monetized. Yeah, I'm never getting monetized. Come on, I'm a bald white guy who talks about politics. There's no way in hell they're going to monetize me. It doesn't help that I look and talk like a pirate on occasion. Yar. Yeah. Oh, I can turn that off. Okay, apparently I can't turn it off. Huh. Anyway, I'm really thankful for all the extra exposure I've been getting through some of my friends lately. So that really matters. That really helps. Not only does it help me grow my channel, but it's good to know there are like-minded people in the world. And I guess that'll be the topic that I'll jump off on here. But when you realize there are other people who see the same bullshit that you do and call it out, it makes it a lot easier for you to call it out. And that's part of the reason I started doing this, is, you know, I want to help people. I mean, originally, the concept for the channel had been to be a sort of advice channel, and I was hoping to stay away from political commentary. Unfortunately, political commentary kind of, well, between the Sultans literally shanghaiing me into a recurring guest role, or I guess a regular role now. I don't know. That's up to Bezic to decide. Um, I like to think of myself as the color commentator on there, um, or the occasionally one-line inserting funny guy from Funny Place. But having exposure through the Sultans of Shadilay has absolutely helped me immensely. Um, and it's gotten me to the point where I'm willing to, network with other people to try and put people who I think deserve more exposure forward to people I know. And it doesn't even matter if I get the credit. It's the same thing as when I started pushing the Rippaverse and Razor Fist and those guys. It's because those guys are they're non-woke. And more than anything, I really believe that pop culture is our shared mythos. And while in the West we have Christian, Jewish, Greek Orthodox, Anglican, well, okay, I said Christian, so if I say Anglican, kind of, yeah. But, I mean, there are Mormons, and we have all of these various different religions. But good, well-written characters created by men are, and this is no detriment meant to religion by any means. I'm not trying to be derogatory towards religion. But where religion will sometimes say, this is the right thing, this is the only right thing, you take a character like Batman, or a character like Superman, or Gandalf, or Frodo. These are characters who exemplify some of the best in humanity. Princess Leia exemplifies some of the best in women. Not the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. No. 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 That's an example of bad parenting. Mm-hmm. And I haven't even watched the show, and I know that. But Princess Leia, when I was a kid, that was my ideal woman. Okay, she was tough. She was feminine. She was smart. She was willing to get her hands dirty if she had to. And for a young guy growing up in the 80s, Princess Leia being your ideal left you with two very important things: a strong respect for women and an understanding of what it is to be a man. Because to have respect for a strong woman means you also want to be worthy of a strong woman. Yeah. Now, somewhere along the way, I fell off of that train, and shit went sideways for a couple of decades. But, yeah, I'm trying to get myself back onto that, and doing this as an encouragement to get others to do that. Which, again, comes back to seeing other people feeling the same way I do. He is the eunuch for a perfect example. But for my first few live streams, I was literally screeching into the void. There was no one there was no one watching, and I was still doing it. Because I did have a strong belief that perseverance pays off. And it does. But yeah, perseverance is nothing without people. And as much as I like doing the internet thing, I really, really want to be able to meet people, to work with people. And unfortunately, because of my circumstances at the moment, being one of Trudeau's unacceptables, which really ought to be a web series, I think. It's kind of funny how the Canadian unacceptables and the American deplorables get along so well, isn't it? And we need a name for the Australian ones. Anyway, I'll come up with something, I'm sure, or someone else will for me. But the the circumstances I'm dealing with are not the same circumstances everyone else deals with. Obviously, almost everyone English is a difficult language, even for those who have a facility with it. But when you find people who share your views and think the same way you do, it's really, really heartening. I assume that's the opposite of disheartening. Anyway, but it is very encouraging, certainly, to encounter people who agree with your attitude. And while it would be nice to be able to work with the system as it stands, I do agree with Yiz in some ways that we need to, as she says, build parallel. And that kind of brings us back to the whole Ripaverse thing, where he basically said, no, screw it, I'm not going to try and fix the system. I'm just going to build a new system, which is basically what he did. And holy shit, people respond. Last I saw, he is well over 3.5 million. And aces, good on him. I really wish I could have contributed to that, but money, it's tight all the way around. And to be honest, I haven't read a good comic book that was published in the last 6-8 years. Certainly not by any of the big two. And while I don't necessarily think that it's an orchestrated attack on that shared mythos that we all have, Superman being gay, Wonder Woman being a rapist, go watch Wonder Woman 1984, you'll understand. She-Hulk being a complete feminist joke. Oh my gods. Really, She-Hulk. Like, I've detailed it before, but I mean, catcalling, really? That's yeah. You're angry about that? Okay. Try being hunted by the entire U.S. military. Right? Try being ostracized all over the planet. You know, Batwoman. The whole, oh, I'm not letting a man take credit for the achievements of a woman. Bitch, you're wearing Bruce Wayne's pajamas. Like, come on. But there's so much of this stuff, and it's really great to see people pushing back against the Trump, the Rings of Power. It's really great to see people pushing back against that tripe, which, yeah, it's really close. Tripe. And again, that is actually a really good example of an intentionally created mythos. And the adaptation, or the continuance, or whatever you want to call the Rings of Power, the idiotic insertion of SJW characters, as badly written as they are, left aside, notwithstanding the bad writing and the bad acting, which I've been hearing about, leaving all that aside, it seems that the people doing these adaptations don't understand the source material at all, not even on a basic level. And to be fair, it is a bit of a deep fan thing to know that Tolkien had created The Lord of the Rings, not just to be a story for his kids, which is what The Hobbit was, but to be a new mythos for the British, for the English specifically, and the Indigenous English in particular. And yes, there is such a thing as Indigenous English, and if you don't think so, how long does a group have to live somewhere to be Indigenous? My family's been in Newfoundland for 300 years. I'm an Indigenous Newfoundlander. Eat me. But even if you don't like the sound of that, you have to accept that I'm an ethnic Newfoundlander. My people came from England, but that was 300 years ago. My people aren't English anymore. Newfoundland is a different place, shaped the culture differently, very differently. It would be akin to saying because the Native Americans, which is a bit of a questionable term, but because they came from Asia, which is fairly well proven at this point, but because they came from Asia, it would be like saying that they were, excuse me, it would be like saying that they were still Asian. Clearly they're not. The American continent and the Asian continent are very different. Not a lot of bamboo in the Americas, not naturally anyway. And yeah, unless you're going to start telling the Cree they're Asians, you can't tell me I'm English. Kind of sucks, but it's true. And I mean, I'm very proud of my English heritage, my Saxon heritage, my Norman heritage. I'm proud of all that because that's what made me who I am. And there's never a reason to dishonor your heritage. Yeah, there might have been someone who owned a slave way the fuck back in my family. Maybe. Maybe. How does that bear on me? I'm not exactly living in fucking luxury here. And the idea of white privilege is just silly. If there was such a thing as white privilege, why does affirmative action make it harder for white men to get jobs? Yeah. But, you know, these are the realities we don't want to talk about. Ooh, excuse me. I imagine you heard that one on the mic. If you didn't, it was quite bassy and profound. A little bit of profundo, in fact. But yeah, you know, I'm thankful. Sometimes I don't come off as particularly humble, and that's a bit of an artifice. I am surprised that so many people actually want to hear what I have to say. But I'm also extremely pleased that to date my best performing video has been my first woodworking live stream. That's wonderful. I really like the idea that people are interested in practical things. Other than that, you know, please like, share, subscribe. Be one of the 100. Comment by all means. I do my damnedest to answer every single comment I get. If I don't answer, I at the very least will acknowledge you. Don't be a dick. That's the general rule for everybody. Don't be a dick. But yeah, I think that's a good place to end. I have started trying to do Rumble. Rumble is a whole other platform. I have to figure out the UI and how it differs from YouTube. But it looks like monetization there would be much faster and actually possible. The things I talk about, there's no way I would ever get monetized here on YouTube. In any case, folks, I will end as I began with a not angry tap tap. Okay, so You all have a good day, and I hope you continue to have good days and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye bye.